Hello again. This is going to be the last part, the last instalment of our story, Farm Boy, and I pick up where we left yesterday. Remember, they had just done the ploughing match, and thanks to the old Fordson breaking down, Joey and Zoe had won. I had just read that the furrows had been good, deep furrows, just like they should be. We had won. To be fair to Harry Medlicott, he did come right over and he shook father by the hand, and me too. Said I was a good lad and he ruffled my hair with his oily hand. Well then, Corporal says, Harry Medlicott, to father, you won fair and square. It's your tractor if you can pull it out the ditch. And by that evening, with the help of a dozen or more men, we pulled the Fordson back onto his wheels. We couldn't start it though, so we hitched him up to Joey and Zoe, and between them they pulled him all the way across Burrow Brim Close and into the barn. There are the horses trying to pull the tractor out the ditch. They enjoyed that, I reckon. So the Fordson was ours forever, and Joey and Zoe never had to plough again. Joey lived on long after dear old Zoe, till he was near enough 30. He had 10 good years of retirement, most of it up in the orchard. There we go. Loved his apples, did Joey, and he looked well on 'em too. Father says to me once, it's not the same working with a tractor. Can't hardly talk to a tractor, can you? But all the time I can mind he looked after that old Fordson like a baby. Never get rid of it, he says to me. Family history is that old tractor. Thank you. In spite of his bad leg, father went on working until the day he died. Every evening when it was getting dark, he would walk up the lane to shut up the fowls against the fox. Never let anyone else do it, no matter how much his leg was paining him. And then one evening he goes off and he doesn't come back. I found him lying outside the fowl house with his stick still in his hand. The doctor told mother and me it was the best way to go. He would never have knowed a thing. When my time comes, I want it to be just like that, good and quick. Maybe I'll be shutting up the fowls just like father was, and someone will find me outside the fowl house, and the police inspector will come along and look for footprints and fingerprints, and he'll write in his report, death by natural causes, foul play not suspected. Make me smile, that would. Now you need to take a close look at that. A bit of a spelling lesson here on homophones, words that sound the same but are spelt different. Did you see how that's the end of that part of the story? But we carry on our narrator's story. Grandpa's story came with me in my rucksack all the way to Australia. I read it by torchlight lying on my bunk in the sheep station. I read it in the bush by the light of the moon. I read it on the plane home, the paper glowing red with the last of the Australian sun. By then, I think I had already made up my mind. Here he is in Australia, but take a moment to think about what our narrator might have decided to do. Let's see if you were spot on. I did go to college to study engineering as I had planned, but 4 years later, I was back at Burrow, farming with Grandpa. He's retired now, or as good as. He spends most of his days reading Sherlock Holmes at the moment. He leaves most of the farming to me. It's all I hoped it would be, and more. I've been spending my evenings up in the barn, restoring the old green Fordson. It now has 4 wheels again, a reconditioned engine, and the bodywork is almost finished. It's my pride and joy. Beautiful. Grandpa came in to inspect it yesterday evening. He walked around, patting it and stroking it, just as if it were a horse. Looks good as new, he says. Wish you could do the same for me. And he went off to shut up his hens. No matter how cold and wet and windy it is, He still likes to do that himself. Once he'd gone, I sat myself up on the seat. I gripped the steering wheel, closed my eyes, and off I went, thundering out over the farm. I was out on candlelight and roaring along in the wind when he interrupted my dreams. He was waving his stick at me from the barn door and was laughing. Mighty noisy, that old tractor. And you might want to watch the brakes. You can't trust 'em. You remember what happened to Harry Medlicott? I remember, I said. And that is the end of the story of Farm Boy. This story is a sequel to another great story that I would really recommend you might want to read. It's called Warhorse. Any one of Michael Morpurgo's books would really, really be a great read for you. Why not try Kentucky's Kingdom or maybe Butterfly Lion? Those are two of my favourites. Now, if you'd like to listen to another story, I've got a couple more lined up. Why not let me know through the blog whether that's something you'd like to do or not? Until then, bye for now.